Hi everyone, I'm Skywaston and this is third part of the FPS tutorial series. And in this video we are going to add a few effects to our player so that the game looks much more lively. So in the previous part we had implemented weapon so our player can shoot anywhere in the map. So that's great. Now I would like to add a bunch of effects. So the first one that we are going to implement is showing a visual feedback when we are sprinting. So it looks a little bit nicer. And the second effect that we are going to implement is weapon swing, where as I move, the weapon is going to rotate a little bit. And the third and final effect is going to be a simple breathing animation. So that's it for this video. Let's begin. So over here I will first of all start with adding effect for sprinting. So I will go to the player scene, and inside of player we are concerned with our movement script. So here we are inside player movement.gd. So first of all we need to know when the value of is sprinting is changed. So for that I can define a signal for this, and this can be is sprinting changed, and I can call this signal whenever the value of is sprinting is changed. So for that I can add a setter method. So inside of it, first let's check if our is sprinting's new value is same as the old value, and if that's the case we simply return out, we don't do anything. But if the new value is different, so if previously it was false and the new current value is true, then we simply go ahead and set is sprinting to that new value. But also we emit this signal that we have defined, and we pass down the value is sprinting. So any listener method that listens to this event, this signal, can get the is sprinting value. Okay, so yeah, that is all for our player movement script. So we want to show that sprint effect by changing the field of view of our camera. So if I go to the camera preview, and over here if I change the field of view, you can see that for larger values we can see more area. So yeah, I'm going to, for this sprint effect I will set a value of 90 when we are sprinting, and we are going to animate it with tween. So let's do that. So for this we are going to go to our player camera manager script, and inside of here we are going to override the okay, so we haven't actually made a base script as I said before. So we can just define the start method, and this start method is going to be called in our ready. So we can do camera mg dot start, and inside of here we are going to do player dot movement dot is sprinting changed connect. So we are now connecting to this signal that we defined is sprinting changed, and the method is going to be, let's say, on is sprinting changed. So we have defined the method, and we can define this parameter which is sprinting over here, and this is going to be a boolean. So with this done, let's animate it. But before doing that, let's do a simple quick FOV change so we can see if our code is working or not. So we can do something like, if we are sprinting, then our camera's FOV is going to be 90. Otherwise, if else we will simply going to make our FOV to 75, which is the default value. So let's run the game, and when I sprint, we can see it's working. And of course we are not animating it, so it looks really weird. So let's do the animation, and it's going to be very simple. First of all, we are going to define a tween. Okay, so first let me just do the initialization of target FOV variable, which is going to be a float. And then our target FOV, if we are sprinting, is going to be 90, and if we are just moving or being idle, it's going to be 75. After that, let me make this full screen. Yeah, so let's define the tween, and it's going to be create tween, and let's also set its ease to ease in and out. And finally we can do tween property. So what we are going to tween, we are going to tween the camera, and then we are going to tween its FOV, and its target value is going to be the target FOV, and the duration can be, let's go with 0.1 for now. Let's see. Yeah, I think this looks good to me. You can, if you want to, lower this value down to make it a little bit more snappier. Maybe it's okay, let's go with 0.1. I think I am okay with that. Yeah, I think this looks good. Okay, so our sprint effect is done. We can close the window, and next we can proceed ahead with implementing weapon sway. So for weapon swaying, what I'm going to do is that I will be rotating the camera itself. I will be rotating it along the around the z-axis. Okay, so as you can see, if I go left, I will rotate it by some degrees, some positive degrees, and if I move right, it's going to be some negative amount of angle. Okay, so that's the idea, and we can do it in many ways, but I'm going to make it with just camera rotation. Okay, so I will now go to the player camera manager script, and we are going to just work on this itself. So first of all, let's define an update function, as over here we are going to need to call it per frame, and I will add an underscore because the delta is not going to be used. And then inside of our player, I can call camera mg's update function and pass in the delta. Okay, so this is done. Now I will define a variable, and this is going to be move x dir, which is for direction, and it's going to be an integer, and let's set it to 0 for now. So with this done, what I will do basically in our update function is that our move x direction is going to be input dot get action raw strength. We will take in the right key, and so basically it's the like if we are pressing the right key, it's going to be 1 minus the left key. So suppose if I'm pressing the right key, which is D, and whatever the value of it is going to be, the value of it's going to be 1, and the value of left is going to be 0, so the result is going to be 1. And suppose if I'm pressing both right and left, then it will be 0, and if it's only left, then it's going to be -1. Okay, and yeah, so this is it. And over here I'm again going to define a setup for this, and here I will again do that similar check, where if the new value is similar to the old one, we won't do anything, no updates. Otherwise we update the direction with new value, and also let's print it out so we can see if it's working or not. So yeah, it's working. Now over here we can begin the animation. So I will define the tween, and we can make a probably we can make a separate function for this, but I will just write it down in line over here. Okay, so we can say rotate camera, or maybe let's make it a little bit more descriptive. Weapon sway, animate camera's rotation to demonstrate weapon swaying, or maybe let's say to show weapon swaying. Okay, then I'm going to again set its easing to ease in and out. And now what we are going to do is, so first of all let's again define a target rot, which is rotation variable, and this is going to be in degrees. Okay, so let's call it target rot degrees, and let's set it to 0, and say if our move x direction is equals to 0, then then we don't really have to do any change. Let's say if if we are moving towards the right. Okay, and we can just be more explicit. We can just say, so by the way, one more thing, you can see that I used this function, which is get action raw strength. So by raw it means that suppose if we were so this is not an issue with keyboard, but with a controller, if we are moving the stick, so we can get a value between 0 and 1, but with get action raw strength we only get 0 or 1. So yeah, that's how I want this to be, though over here I'm using keyboard only, not controller, but just something I wanted to let you know why I have used raw method. Okay, so if our move x direction is 1, that is we are moving towards the right, then we will have a negative angle. Let's go with something like 5. And if our move x direction is equals to -1, then our target angle is going to be a positive angle. Let's go with 5, and maybe it's a good idea to just define the rotation angle, because it's going to be same for both sides. So let's have something like rotation angle. Also let's have a variable for animation duration. Let's go with 0.1. Okay, so I will, instead of 5, I will type in rot angle, and same over here. With this done, I can now just tween the property which is of the camera node. It's going to be the rotation, but it's going to be the Z rotation only, and also it's going to be actually rotation degrees, because I'm using target rot degrees. Okay, so we are going to update rotation degrees, and it's going to be for the Z component. Okay, so I will refer to it like this. So if you want to know the property, what is the name of the property, it automatically autofills. But if you are unsure, you can just hover over it, and you can see the property name. So in my case, I'm using rotation degrees. So if you look over here, it says rotation, but it's in radians, and you can see if I want to use degrees, I will use the rotation degrees property. So that's what I'm using over here, and let's quickly finish it now. And the target value is going to be target rot degree, and the duration is going to be our animation duration. So this is it, and now let's run the game. And if I move, okay, so it does work. I think, let me just decrease the rotation angle a little bit. So let's make it something like 2. Yeah, I think this is fine. This looks good to me. So with this done, we can proceed ahead with making the final effect, which is animating our player's camera so that we can give a simple breathing effect, and this will just make the game feel much more alive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an animation player node inside of our player and create a new animation, which I will name it as idle. I will set it to autoplay on start, and I will set its nearest FPS to 0.1 and allow snapping, and these two things are just for ease of navigation inside animation player. And I will set the total length of this animation to be of 2 seconds. Now of course I have already made it before, so I know the values. I'm just going to directly set those keyframes. Okay, so let's begin. So for our camera, I will be rotating it, I will be moving it up and down a little bit, and we can do this with the position vector, but I will going to use these provided properties, which are horizontal offset and vertical offset. And since I just want to animate it vertically, I will be making use of vertical offset. Okay, so let's add a keyframe of it, and then at 1 second I will make it go a little bit down, and I will go with the value of 0.05. and again, I have already animated it before, so I know the values. And for the final end frame, we are just going to copy the initial frame, and of course this animation is going to be a looping animation. So yeah, that is it, and we can run the game. And yeah, we can see the breathing animation. It's very basic, very simple, but yeah, this is it. So this is all for this video. And one more thing, we can see we are getting a few warnings. So let's have a look at it. So this is already going to be converted to an integer, but let's make it explicit so we don't get this warning. So this is done. Yeah, so this warning is gone. And yeah, over here we are not using delta, so we can just add an underscore. So yeah, all warnings are taken care of, and yeah, this is it. So this is all for this video. We have finished adding all the effects we needed for the player, and in the next video we are going to finally add the enemy and add the state management for it and pathfinding. So yeah, this is it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.